Yeah. Okay, we got it. Okay. Hi, my name is Avery Campbell, and this is my big board presentation. So, a little bit about myself. As I said, my name is Avery Campbell. I'm a senior here at Seaholm High School, and this is my 4th year in Flex. And I am a young lady. Now, why does me being a young lady pertain to my presentation? Well, not only is my presentation on feminism, I am in fact one of those wild and crazy bra-burning feminists. Now, I'm a feminist, but I don't burn bras, and I'm not crazy, and I don't hate men. I shave my armpits. I don't want to have promiscuous sex all the time. I don't want all babies to be aborted. I don't hate religion. I don't hate God. Um, so yeah, all the stereotypes you have about feminists and feminism, you can just leave right over there by the door. So what feminism is about is promoting a better life for women and just general gender equality. A lot of feminism was originally based around promoting women, and of course, femi is in the name. But really what we're looking for is just a better quality of life um, for women and for all people. You know, we don't want men to have terrible lives. We just want all people to be treated equally with respect and, you know, with the same opportunities in the world as everyone else. So to begin, I'm going to be talking about, oh, sorry, I forgot a whole bit. Um, so now, young ladies, you're promoting a better future for yourselves. That's a whole reason why you should be a feminist. I mean, you're not just for you, though. I mean, you have to think about all the strong women in your life. You know, your mother, you're doing this for your mother. You're promoting this for your mother because she's a woman and she may have had some hardships in her life. You know, I always think of my mother for this and things that, you know, she had to deal with that I'm grateful that I don't, and I want to push forward for my children. You're doing this for your sisters, for your aunts, for your friends, for your future children, for every woman who's ever lived and ever had an injustice in her life. This is what you're working for. Young men in the room and everyone else, let me just ask you a couple questions. Have you ever met a woman? Okay, all of you. Do any of you care about women? Good, all of you. So the same rule applies. You know, not everything you do is for you, and you always have to think about that. Not every action you make, not every cause you vote for, not everything that you change is always going to be 100% for you. You always have to be thinking about the others, and we just want to live in a better society that treats all genders equally. So first I'm going to be talking about education. And education is just so important in really any movement, but especially the feminist movement. Not only do we need to educate young women and young men about what the feminist movement is and what it means, just general like schooling and education is really good because it helps um, women get into the job market, it helps them grow, it helps them become the women they're meant to be. And that's very important as well, becoming the woman that you were meant to be through education. And I had a really great experience with the Birmingham chapter of the AAUW, which is the American Association for University Women. Fantastic group of people. And they really talked about how education, schooling, being an educator helped promote them as women. And we're also talking about the challenges they face with education. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Women's education has gotten so much better. Man, we're just skyrocketing. We actually have, there's more women enrolled in college than there are men. Which, you know, I wish everyone was enrolled in college. That's the best case scenario, but I'm so happy to see young women thriving. Um, and that's a positive note, but it doesn't mean that we should stop. We need to keep promoting education to young women and promoting education within everyone. Just a very important, you know, like anything. So, continuing, we're going to be talking about body image and clothing choice. So we're going to start with clothing, or we're going to start with body image. Let's start with body image. So young girls are bombarded with a lot of different images of how their body should look like. Now, bigger or smaller, you know, wider or larger, white or black. There's a lot of images going around, and that can be very confusing, and we need to come to terms with what a real woman's body looks like, not just for the sake of our young men getting unrealistic expectations, but also for the sake of our young women, just to kind of let them know that they're all right. There's a lot of different jokes going around about if women's vaginas all like look the same. Like, oh my god, I don't know what anyone else's looks like. What if mine's wrong? And of course, this is really funny, ha ha ha. But really, what if mine's wrong? Like, that's kind of terrifying. We need to allow young girls, beyond that, just showing like normal proportioned bodies, natural, stop with the photoshopping, because it makes young girls uncomfortable because they don't feel like they're right and they don't feel like they're normal. And then the promotion of just ridiculous body image perpetuates eating disorders and just lower self-esteem. Girls, by the time they hit puberty, have already plummeted with their self-esteem, and by the time that they're 16, 17, many of them suffer from depression. That's a huge deal. After 16 and 17 years of life, you just don't see anything worthwhile anymore. How sad is that? And a huge reason is just because of body image. Something so simple we can change. Now, clothing choice, which is another super fun area. So, clothing choice, the clothing that I decide to put on my body, that I decide to wear, that I decide to present to the world. Now, it all starts revolving around puberty, which is a key point in young women's life. So, I hit puberty pretty young, and I had this favorite t-shirt. Like, I loved this t-shirt. It was my absolute favorite. I wore it to everything. One of my old neighbors had given it to me. It just meant the world to me. And, my body had started changing, but I hadn't changed. I was still the same person, the same morals, the same everything. But now it wasn't okay for me to wear that shirt anymore. And like, to me, it still fit, like I could manage it, but it was a lot tighter, it was a lot more different. And my mom told me I couldn't wear it anymore. And that made me really sad. Now, of course, hi mom. Um, it's not her fault. I don't blame her. I'm not angry at her for taking my favorite shirt away. But it didn't make sense to me. And it didn't make sense to me why I couldn't wear tank tops anymore. And it didn't make sense to me my shorts were too short now. And it didn't make sense to me why I felt weird wearing a bikini around my best friend. Another story that reminded me, I had my best friend Ben over for a sleepover. He lives in California. It was really great. He came to visit, and we were all gonna sleep in like my room. It was gonna be awesome. And I've literally known Ben since birth. And I was putting on my pajamas, which was just like a white tank top and like shorts. And I was like, okay, ready to go. And my mom came up to me and she said, Avery, like, you can't wear this. Like, you have to put on, like, real pajamas. I was like, I sleep in these all the time. Like, they have pajamas, like, on the label. She's like, you have to wear something that covers you more. And I was like, Mom, it's Ben. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's Ben. That's hilarious. That's actually hilarious. So I changed, and I never got it. But what they're really telling you when someone says to cover up your body because it makes someone else uncomfortable is that they don't trust young boys not to have inappropriate sexual thoughts about 10-year-old girls. That's really what they're telling you. And that's kind of a gross but a really sad thought, that we have to tell our 10-year-old girls that shirt is too low in public because we're afraid of middle-aged men ogling them. I mean, that's just wrong. Why are you telling this girl to cover up her body when you can tell this man to stop being a pervert? He's being a pervert. Just because a young girl has breasts does not mean that she's sexually active, sexually interested, or even on the table. No, she's not on the table at all. And that's really the problem. Because not only we're telling our girls that they need to hide themselves, but we're also telling them that their body parts are wrong. And we do this by saying that this is distracting, that this is inappropriate. That word inappropriate, how is my natural body, my natural figure? I have no mutations here, no strange genes, no weird growths. This is all the way it is supposed to be. And yet, that is inappropriate. just isn't making sense to me. There's a lot of complaints from young girls, um, specifically one in Canada who had a really great phrase. She got dress coded at school for her shorts being too short, and she said, "I'm a 15-year-old girl. If you're sexualizing me, you're the problem." And this was too true. You know, we need to really look at what we're looking at. We're not looking at a sexually active 25-year-old with a fully developed body and mental capacity and freedom of choice. We're looking at a 15-year-old minor. 15 years of life total, just in all of it. 110%. That's all she's lived. Do we really want to do that? Do we really want to over-sexualize girls? And in no way is there comparable for boys. Boys are not sexualized the way that young girls are. And that is completely why we need feminism. Because these young girls are being taken advantage of, really. So, on to our next point about motherhood. So, the choice to be a mother. Now, at this day and age, you know, I'm 18. No one's really pushing for me to have a kid. But let's say I was 35. Would that change it? I mean, I can almost guarantee I'd get a comment like, "Oh, don't you feel like you're missing something? Isn't that like your job? Just wait till your instincts kick in." Now, these are things that are meant to be passive. No one is going out and yelling at you, "Shame for not having a child." No, wait, just kidding. Some people are. But not average people. Now, the problem with this is it's such a little comment. It's such a little thing. And you might say, "Avery, you have bigger fish to fry. Why should I give a crap about 35-year-old women who choose not to have children?" Well, you need to give a crap about them because there's a lot of 35-year-old women who choose not to have children, and that's part of our society that we have to accept. That motherhood is a choice. Just because I'm born a girl does not mean that I have to become a mother. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's a hard decision to make as a woman, because I am giving my life up for another being. That's insanely hard. I mean, men, being a father, you know, I'm sorry, there's lots of deadbeat dads around there. You can walk out pretty easily. And that's just fact. Me, I have to carry this. I have to birth it, I have to love it, and I can't abandon it. And it's going to be part of me for the rest of my life, even if I give it away. That's something that no man can compare to. And it's a hard choice. But again, it's not just my choice. There's a whole other set of chromosomes that are involved in making a child. And we can test this theory right now, actually. Alright, so everyone, put your hands up with me. Okay, now, focus. Baby, 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 baby! I don't feel pregnant. I don't think I'm pregnant. So we cannot just say, "I want to be pregnant now," and then have a child. No, there is, in fact, a whole other set of chromosomes that go along with it. Now, this is important because I need a man just as much as a man needs me to have a child. But men, again, are not scrutinized the way that women are for not having children. And that's, again, a huge issue that we have, just because women are being treated differently than men. We're not being treated as people first, as Avery who chooses not to have a child. I'm being treated as woman being chosen not to have a child. Woman is Avery. Blame goes to Avery. And this backwards way of thinking not only affects motherhood, but is affecting all other parts of feminism. So by getting rid of it altogether, not only do we solve the big problems, we solve the little ones like this too. Now let's say you decide to become a mother. And you also work. Now you have to choose if you're going to be a working mother. Now, working mothers face not only a lot of stereotypes, a lot of difficulties. You know, working mothers often ask, "How do you split your time?" Or, "Geez, how do you manage?" But men, once again, rarely are. And why are they rarely asked? Well, it's usually because even working mothers, even though both parents are working mothers often have to cover for the other parent. whether that's be taking care of a sick child, going to a pageant, driving a child somewhere. They are the ones who have to take time out of their schedule, take time from their vacation days, from their sick days, skip work. It all goes into there, and it does not help them with promotion. A great example of this is my dad manages this sales team. And he came to me with a dilemma. And he was saying, I have this great woman. She's so smart, she works so hard, and I really want to promote her, but I just can't. And I was like, Dad, this is the 21st century. You have to hire her. Like, you're a dad, you have a daughter, you have me as a daughter, like, you have to go do this. This is not, 1900s anymore. And he's like, well, that's not the problem. The problem is she's a woman. I don't give a crap if she's a woman. She can't commit the hours. Because she has 3 kids and a husband, and when those 3 kids get sick, she has to take time off of work and go in. So there's no way that she could commit the extra hours to work for this new position. So my dad can't hire her. And as a business person, that clicked in my brain. So, they can't do the work, they can't do the work. But something still didn't quite fit right. Because why wasn't the husband just taking out a time? Why weren't they splitting it equally? And now I don't know these people. I don't know their family setup. I have no right to go in and judge them or change anything, and I don't want to do that. That's their lives. It's not my problem. But there is a way to kind of work around this, and a lot of companies have started doing this, where they go in and they'll pair 2 working mothers together. So let's use Suzanne and Diane. So Diane's kid gets sick. Suzanne will cover for her for that day, and then Suzanne, same pay, same days, just gets to cover for that day. And then let's say, Diane's kid gets sick. Suzanne just covers, and it's all good. So that way, you don't have 2 people working one position. You just have 2 people working in similar fields that overlap, and then they cover each other when they specifically need them. Because being a mom, you don't always have to go all the time, but sometimes you really gotta go. So this way, it kind of balances the work out for them. And what these companies are really doing is they're investing in their women. They're saying, you are worthwhile, not just now until you have a child, but in the long term. I want you here. Because kids, they do grow up. They're not here forever. So when they grow up, parents come back to work, full time, full everything, everything's the same. A long-term investment in working moms. Economically speaking, if you're only using half of your population to support your whole population, it just doesn't make sense. So why not try and get as many people working as possible? I mean, that's just not only for sheer manpower, but for creativity. Phew, awesome. So now we move on to our heavier subject, which is the rape epidemic, which is sweeping this country. And I know what you're thinking. God, I don't want to talk about this. It's uncomfortable, and there's no good out of it. She's going to start blaming all the men, and blah, blah, blah. It's not here. It doesn't happen to me. I don't know anyone that's been raped, It doesn't happen in Birmingham. It's only in poor areas or uneducated areas. Well, how do you explain how my friend was raped this year? You don't. Statistics don't lie. My friend being sexually assaulted was not only terrifying, but weird. Because I was where you were, where you are. It couldn't happen to me, it doesn't happen around me, it doesn't happen here. And I was still writing this paper, and boom. We were talking on the phone. She'd called me after it happened. I was asleep, so I called her the next day. She told me, or really, I guessed until I knew because she was too ashamed to tell me. And the weird part was that we had to ask ourselves, should we call the cops? Because here we were, 2 well-educated girls, 2 feminists, 2 people who had sat through all those sexual assault lectures and what to do, how to report it, and what to stay away from. And we still had to ask ourselves, should we call the cops? And now I understand why over 60% of rapes go unreported every year. 60%. I'm sorry, that number is laughable. 60% of rapes go unreported? Are you kidding me? Because women are afraid to say that they were the victim. Rapists should be afraid to say that they're actually rapists. Young girls feel dirty and wrong, and they feel like it's their fault. Because I saw this in my friend. I had to hold her while she was shaking and crying and telling her it wasn't her fault. We called the cops. She went to the hospital, she got a rape kit, they took down her statement, but she was facing another hard decision. Because she didn't know if she wanted to press charges. Because her rapist was someone she knew. 2 out of 3 victims know their rapist. You might already know. So, and this wasn't just someone that she had met before. This was a family friend, someone she trusted, someone who had helped her through her parents' divorce. Someone who she really cared about. And she had his life in his hands. At the time she was thinking, well, I press charges, he'll get convicted, he'll spend time in prison, and that'll be on his record for life. Do I want that? Now, me, I want him to go to jail forever. Just me. But it was her decision, so I told her it was hers to make. A week or so later, she went back into the station to press charges. And the officer she spoke to just said no. No. Because apparently a rape kit is not enough evidence. No, not enough evidence. And he said to her, well, he didn't scream, didn't put up a fight. Well, you knew the guy. He got into his car. Apparently, those are all reasons that make it okay to sexually violate someone. Apparently. And this is not, crappy police. This is your local and finest Birmingham police. I only smile because I've told this story so many times, and every time it gets worse and worse. I keep hoping in my heart of hearts that something will change, that for whatever reason new information will come and I can tell you something better. I can't. And I'm so uncomfortable with that fact that I don't know what else to do besides have a shit-eating grin on my face. She was not allowed to press charges. Her rapist was walking the streets of Birmingham, doing fine. And she has to live with that for the rest of her life. The very, very worst part, her rapist didn't even know it was rape. He called her in confusion. He called her saying, "What did the cops call me? Why are they asking me all these questions?" Because apparently her pleading of no, no, please stop meant nothing to him, was just a little bit of foreplay. That's what really scares me. It's not the murderers, it's not the arson, it's not the rapists that knock you over the head at night and drag you into an alleyway. No, it's the rapists who don't even know what they're doing is rape. That's what really scares me. And do you know where that really scares me? College. College parties. They don't think. They don't know. It's not even in their radar. And that scares me. I'm up here. I'm talking to you. I wrote a paper on this. I'm a strong woman. I'm well educated. And I'm still scared shitless to go to college. Why does my dad have a Time magazine article saved about college rape and how to test for roofies in his office he's been keeping there for 2 years? He wouldn't want to talk about that with his daughter unless he was actually scared of that happening. Why does Moten have to, talk to the graduating class about rape? Because she's scared. Because she knows it's real. Because she knows it's going to happen. Statistically, you're going to know someone who's been raped. I already do, and I've only lived here 18 years. Once every 18 years for the rest of your life. I mean, that's just a scary thing. And the worst part is my friend has to tell every future boyfriend she has about that experience. From now until forever. Everyone. And they don't tell you about the emotional repercussions that you have. You think, oh, it's trauma. It's your identity is stripped from you. You don't know what to do. You don't know who you are. But I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to talk about what you can do to help this. How do we change this mentality? How do we promote a better life for men and women? Education. All comes back to education. Teach your girls to respect themselves. Teach your girls that their bodies are beautiful and perfect the way that they are. Teach your boys to respect women. Educate your boys. Teach them right from wrong. Teach them yes from no. All we can do is hope to better the future generations. By bettering them, we rise everything comes up. There's no counterpoint to this, and hell, mark me off points for it, but there's just not. There's no counterpoint to equality. Now you might say, feminism's not a problem anymore. We don't have that. Women can vote. And why am I here? Then how did I write a 17-page paper on this? How did I speak for 20 minutes about problems that I've actually experienced? Tell me there's no need for feminism now. Learn, grow, promote happiness, promote education. That's all I can hope for. Thank you.